the hiatus. It is Dames and Darryl Timmers, team manager for Pro Racing Ontario, here to talk F1 in another race weekend, Canada's F1 podcast. I'm gonna just come out and say it. Ferrari suck, yo. They suck. They suck. They suck. They suck.
Yeah,
they suck.
I agree.
And I'm not talking about the drivers.
Nope.
Obviously, I'm talking about Ferrari.
Yes.
They suck.
I second that. That was I don't know what the hell's going on over there, but they need to change this around because it's just atrocious. Like, this is so bad. I don't understand how these decisions are made when you have so much more information from the beginning of the race about these hard tires, and just it's like they don't look at the race. It's like, whatever's happening in the race, who cares? Our guys are up front. We'll just, go and chill and do our own thing. Yeah. And it just, I don't understand. They're it's like they've taken a gift and wrapped it up and was like, here you go, Red Bull, take the championship, no problem. Like,
that's what I said. As far as I realized, it wasn't Max's birthday yesterday. No. It wasn't Christian's birthday yesterday. Like, we do the birthday thing.
Yeah,
we did a podcast. I got a little El Dorado for my man on his birthday. Yeah. But they suck.
Yeah,
I put this out on Instagram. I said Leclerc should strike. Like, he should just be like, look, I ain't racing, I ain't driving until you guys get this together. Because, look, we're more than halfway through the season now. I would say 2 errors on Leclerc's part, driving-wise, of course, the French Grand Prix, and there was one prior to that where he spun it around. And Sainz is kind of the same thing. In Australia, he binned it.
Yeah, a couple of bad races in a row.
Couple of bad races in a row. But overall, if you were to match it up, it looks like the team has cost Leclerc more wins than he has cost Ferrari.
I totally agree.
As a team manager now, let's talk about this, because you got drivers under you, you got employees under you. Decisions have to be made.
Yeah.
Whether you go on track like this with the hard, the medium, the soft, PSI, what happens to Bernardo? Like, we're at the summer break right now. It's a crucial time.
Yeah.
His job has to be on the line.
Oh, I think at this point, if they don't turn it around after the summer break, he's done at the end of the season. There's no way that he can stay around after everything that he's done or all the decisions that are made, because in the end, it is his decision or to put that person into that, role on the team. And if he's not putting the people in the right situation or the right roles, sorry to say, you're the first person to go. You got to take the first person down, and he's going to lose his job at this point, because really and truly, I think changing him before they can, right now, between now and the end of the summer break would just be a little bit of a shakeup, and I don't think it's going to change anything for the rest of the season. I think, taking that team principal away that makes those decisions is just going to end up putting a stalemate on everyone in their position, and they're not going to be able to go.
But
yes,
if they fire him right now, let's be honest, they have no chance of winning the championship. Yeah. They don't. The Drivers' Championship. Leclerc's 80 points back?
Yeah.
Like, come on now. And then not only that, with the Mercedes performance leveling up, which we'll get to in just a moment, I don't see them finishing P2 in the constructors either. Because every race, a Ferrari power unit is blowing up.
Yeah,
so I happened to Bottas yesterday. Yeah. So it's only a matter of time before that happens again to either Sainz or Leclerc. Yeah. Right? So it's like,
I don't understand how they always, they start the seasons off so strong, and then it's like they just can't get over that mid-season hump to keep the pressure on them. It's I don't understand what's going on right now, but Otto, sorry, man, you're out. I think at the end of the season, you're gone.
It's a culture thing.
Yeah.
It's a 100% a culture thing, and we've said it before. I don't know that they have an alpha in the entire team, and that includes the drivers too, because a couple pods ago, we were saying, I feel like Leclerc needs to level up and be more vocal and say no.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why he didn't say, no, I'm staying out on the mediums yesterday while he was leading the race is beyond me. He had good pace. Maybe not as fast as Max, but he wasn't half a tenth a lap behind him either. He had good pace in that car still. He could have ran the mediums, switched to the softs, used softs by the way, but switched to the softs to be competitive through the end of the race.
Put in hards on.
Instead, they put hards on. When Alpine put the hards on, and just the performance went bye-bye.
Yeah, and everyone saw it, and everyone kept commenting on how bad the Alpines are being right now on those hard tires. Ricardo was on it for a bit. Like, there's a bunch of people that were on it that did not do any progress forward. They just kept dropping back. And then you take the leader out and put him on hards. It's like I said, what are you looking at? What race are you looking at?
What's going on? Dude, I literally, like you said, we were literally talking before we started shooting here, and it was like, man, was he on a snack break? It's like, this is the plan D.
Yeah.
We're going to plan D. We're going to plan E.
Yeah.
Like, they got so many plans. How you got so many plans and none of them are the right one?
I don't know. I don't understand what's going on in their head in that pit lane, but something needs to change, or else this is just going to be a repeat of every single year that they're going to do this, start off strong and fall on their faces. And
I seriously contemplated even coming in and discussing this, but it's the biggest story.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few big stories over the weekend leading into this Monday when we're shooting right now. But this is like, we feel like a broken record.
Yeah.
Like every week we're coming in and we're saying the same stuff over and over. It's the strategy team. And then on the flip side of things, you have a Red Bull team that is incredibly nimble.
Yeah.
A lot of things are said about Christian Horner, but I will say this. He's empowered his staff to make decisions because they've earned the right and they've proven themselves to make the right decisions.
He put Hannah Schmidt in that strategic location, and she
nailed it.
She's nailing it.
She nailed it. And she's nailing. Yes. You're right. But yesterday in particular, it was like, because Max was starting P10, they wanted to go out on the hards. He went out for the outlap and was like, nah, this ain't going to work.
No.
Switched it right away, had pace right away, was carving through the pack. Like, this guy had so much pace in the car yesterday. He's able to do a 360. It's like he's auditioning for Hollywood now. It was like a perfect pirouette, and then just got back on the gas.
Kept going, yeah.
And the most incredible part about it was Leclerc. He passed Leclerc on track, did the 360. Leclerc passed it, and then one lap later, he was back in front. It was just like... Anyhow, let's talk about it. Max Verstappen, back-to-back world champion. It's all but done. They don't want to say it. But
they don't. The only thing I can say that will bring this whole thing back is if they take him out. I'm sorry to say, that's the only way for them to get into it.
But even still,
he needs
one race.
But he needs to have 4 DNFs, and Leclerc has got to have 4 wins on those DNFs. That's the only way to get him back in there. Yes, there is a handful of races left, but if you look at it, there's eight races left. So of those 9. He's got a
DNF 50%.
Yeah, 50% of the time. And Leclerc's got to come in and win those races that he DNFs. And if you look at it, I don't think there's anyone on the grid that will do that unless, I'm sorry to say, Alonso or one of those veterans that will do it to sacrifice and get that championship. Leclerc races him clean every single time he's beside him. I think the only thing maybe is if Hamilton and Verstappen start clashing because, the Merc starts getting back to the front. We've wanted to see them go at each other for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And finally, it's starting to happen. That Merc is fast. And I think that's the only thing that could maybe mix it up a bit is that Hamilton and Verstappen start showing us what they were doing last year. Hamilton has nothing to lose, so he's going to race him as hard as he possibly can to make up for all the times that Max did all whatever last year to him.
Right.
And vice versa. So I think that's really the only time that's going to, bring Leclerc back into this is the Mercs start messing around with the Red Bulls a little bit more. And you see George almost passed both of them when he had his spin, George is going to be in there. The Mercs are going to be battling with the Red Bulls. And hopefully, if anything does happen, Ferraris are there to take advantage and clean it up.
Yeah, Mercedes put everybody on an on-notice weekend right before the summer break.
Yeah.
They really managed to put together a strong weekend in Hungary and last weekend.
Yeah.
They had a 2-3. Back-to-back weekends, 2-3 big points, closing the gap down in the constructors. Let's talk about George Russell, pole position, fantastic lap, and on-track racing as well. Yeah. I love it. I love watching George when he's in, a podium championship or a podium position, I should say, because the elbows are out in a very clean way.
Yes.
And that battle between him and Leclerc was just perfect. Like, if this is the next generation of Formula One, it is in good hands. But let's talk a bit about George's performance this weekend. Ultimately, he couldn't convert the pole to a P1.
Yes.
But it was still a good race for him.
Yeah, it was still a good race. The Red Bulls are outright very fast. No one can say that they're not. They have a very good package this week, this race. Well, this season, I should say. And, seeing him kind of, put the laps in and put that pole lap together and jump on pole, we were all surprised. We were all like, this is great. This is great to see the Mercs coming back. They had a very, very, very rough start. And for them to show that he's got pace, and the fact that he's really been the most consistent driver this season, finishing in the top 5 of races that he finished.
Everyone?
Yeah, every single one.
That's crazy. Like, you know what? The talk has gone away from that somehow.
But he's still going.
But it's still going, right? Like, the talk has gone away from that because he's put it on pole, he's finished P2, da-da-da. Like, he's not finishing 4th or 5th. Nobody's really going, he's Mr. Top 5, but he is Mr. Top 5. He still is,
yeah. As long as that car is running at the end of the race, he is finishing in the top 5. And that, I'm sorry to say, is championship material, you know? When, at the beginning of the season, why Leclerc was so far ahead of everyone was because the Red Bulls were having their issues and everyone was falling back. And, with the Mercs being that consistent and that reliable at this point, you never know what's really going to happen for the rest of the season. And I think, the Mercs are going to pass Ferrari and take over that second place in the championship for the constructors. And you never know what happens with Red Bull. They've been having a lot of power unit issues. They've been swapping engines. Gasly and them are already on penalties, and it's just going into the summer break. So, those penalties are going to start adding up. And as the second part of the season comes around, you never know when people starting from the back, and if Merc just keeps picking away at it and hacking away at these wins, and the Red Bulls finishing in the top 5 because of starting from the back because of power unit issues, you never know if these guys battle back and make this a tie championship going into the final round again.
Absolutely, we would love to see that because then it's all to play for at the moment right now. It just looks like Red Bull and Max are just walking away with everything. But that's the beauty of Formula 1. There's always drama. Like, even yesterday in the race, you're like, Max is walking away with this. Then Bottas breaks down, and you're like, hold on a second. What part of the track is he on? Could that be a full safety car? What's going on here? So it's like you have to watch the entire race.
Yeah, you do, because it seems like, all these power unit issues and stuff happening with the cars are not really mid-race. It's always the last 5 to 10 laps that something's happening right now.
Stress.
And it's there's no guarantee if a guy like Max had a 10-second lead going in to 2 laps to go, by the last lap, it was a 4-second lead. And it was all because it started to rain. The safety car, the virtual safety car came out, and everything just piled up. And Max was on on medium tires. Lewis is on soft, so they're going to be a lot better in the rain.
Yeah,
they're going to stay hot. They're going to be a softer compound to dig into that track. If it was 5 laps longer, you never know. Maybe Lewis would have caught Max and taken the win.
Let's talk about Lewis, because, I think at the start of the season, myself included, we're kind of looking at Lewis like, man, he's washed. But as it turns out, he was doing most of the development for Mercedes, trying different setups. And a few races ago when he finished third, he said, I don't want to try anything anymore. I need to focus on getting my name shiny again. I'm Sir Lewis Hamilton, and it's not looking like that now. So let's talk about it. This is 2 back-to-back P2s. 4, if not 5 podiums in a row. Lewis is back, and that car is showing pace.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
Because the management of the race is what everybody needs to understand when it comes to Hamilton. I think he probably manages the race. Well, he definitely does. He's 7-time world champion. I mean, he manages. Yesterday, I was watching him like, I don't understand, because typically that last stint when they go for the softs, they don't really have enough laps to make it happen. And he didn't, but he did. Yeah, he did. Right? Because he came from P6, P5. He was able to pass his teammate. He was able to pass Sainz. And he had the pace in that thing. And he is dangerous. And one of the older guys on the grid, second oldest, if I'm not mistaken. And he is looking very dangerous right now. He is.
That's why you never count Lewis out. Everyone kind of... like you said, was kind of dragging his name through the mud, being like, see, this is why he's not the champion, he shouldn't have won the championship and all that stuff. No, if this guy knows that his championship this isn't going to be his year for the championship, which he decided, going into this season, they have a struggle with the car. You never know what's going on in the background. Like we said, he sacrificed his whole start of the season to develop that car, and he just, all right, we'll give the best, we'll give George a decent car, here you go, let's go extreme with you to try to figure this thing out. And, that just shows why he's a team player, why he's a 7-time world champion. And in the end, I think, he's turned his season around. He's still in the top 5 in the championship. He's still podium. He's going to get the win this year. We all know it. George is going to get his win this year. We all know it. And, with that being said, I think the Mercedes team is probably in the best situation right now because they have really no pressure on them. Whatever happens, people are going to be like, oh yeah, the car's bad. But if they win, they're going to be like, look at what they've done with this car and turned it around from the first season, from the first race where, the first couple races where Hamilton was out in Q3. So
yeah,
and in Q1, it's unreal. Like,
it was Q1 Saudi, right?
Saudi,
he was out in Q1,
outright pace.
And that's that's the telltale sign of a car that's just not working.
Exactly. Right? So it's great to see that Merck's turned around a bit, and it's honestly, they're kind of the sleepers going into the second half of the season. I think people will look at them for wins, but I don't think anyone will really kind of calculate like, holy crap, these guys are still in it for the championship if mathematically some stuff goes down. You know?
The interesting thing about Mercedes this weekend that I was kind of shocked at was their quali lap pace.
Yeah.
Like when you were looking at, George put it on pole. There you go, right? And Lewis had a DRS problem. I think Lewis might have edged him out by a tenth or two. You never actually know. But traditionally, the Mercedes, as of this year, has been a better race car than it's been a qualifying car. Mm-hmm. And now, if they get that qualifying pace together with that race pace, and then seeing Lewis on the softs flying as well is something that Mercedes hasn't been able to do this year. It looks really good on the hards and the mediums, the softs not so much. But yesterday, you're looking like, hold on a second, they've definitely found something. So after the summer break, hopefully all the teams, the drivers can get away a little bit. I think Mercedes, like you said, is probably, Red Bull is obviously in the best position, but I think down the grid, Mercedes can go into the break optimistic that they have a package when they come out, they can compete for podiums consistently now, right?
I totally agree. I think that's the biggest motivation for that team right now is knowing that, we can get these wins, and really we go into a weekend and there's no pressure to win or not to win. Where Ferrari right now has the most pressure on them because they're just catastrophically failing right now. And
they suck.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Suck. They suck.
And Red Bull is kind of in that kind of what Merck was last year, where they had that cushion and they were like, all right, we got this. And then, you look what happened. Red Bull chased them back down and boom.
Management. Yeah. Big news this weekend. Sebastian Vettel has decided to hang it up. I saw that. I was sad, man. I was sad because you're looking at a guy who's the third most championships in the sport, had such a run, such a dominant run. 4 years, moves over to Ferrari. And now look where he's at, and he's just kind of mixing it up in mid-pack, and you're looking at a guy who's pretty much his light has just dwindled. He's moving forward. I'm happy for him that he is moving forward. I hate the fact that his career ended this way, like not being able to compete for another race win. Like, that's sad to me. While at the same time, Fernando Alonso announced today he's moving over to Aston Martin, which opens a spot for Piastri. Hopefully. Maybe not. There's still Daniel Ricciardo in the mix. The Alpine Alonso thing is interesting because he was on the radio pretty tight yesterday with Ocon. Is this an Alonso move or an Alpine move?
I think it's an Alonso move. I think Alpine would be stupid not to resign Alonso if he wanted to resign. I think at this point Stroll just said, hey, here's a big paycheck, come back over to us and help us develop this car, because clearly what we have right now is not working and we're losing our development driver. So they have to do something big to make sure that team, excels in the right direction, and Alonso's one of the best guys to develop a car. So I think Lawrence kind of turned around and was like, you know what, if we have an opportunity to put Alonso on our car to develop it, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, he's a big brand guy too. He's big business, right?
Exactly.
Fernando Alonso's a big brand in the sport. Gets sponsorships built that way. So that makes sense.
So I think it's just one of those things where, a business decision was made when he saw the opportunity. Lawrence Stroll's one of those guys that doesn't hesitate and saw an opportunity and said, hey, let's talk and put this together. And they were probably, in talks before this weekend. It's not like one of those things where they were going to turn around. I think it was waiting for the one card to drop of Vettel retiring, because
right, it was on the wall. You kind of knew without saying it. You could tell he'd lost.
Yeah, and he said that he's been speaking to Lawrence for a little bit to plan what the team should be doing when he leaves and stuff. So I think they knew. I think they went to Alonso and was like, hey, if we can get the next just as experienced driver, if not more, as Vettel, why not? Let's get this guy in. He's turned around. He really developed the McLaren car when it was there, and they had some power unit issues at that point. But he turned the Alpine around, and it's a top 10 car now. So hopefully they can turn that Aston Martin around in the next few years and make it a competitive car for him before he fully retires.
Yeah, we've been saying that the Alpine is a quick car. It's not like I don't know, the results don't show.
Yeah,
but when you're looking at Alonso wheel and practice and quality and that, he's getting some positions out of that car. Overwhelmed, underwhelmed, surprised.
Surprising's got to be the Merc being on pole. I'm surprised when I saw that when Russell crossed the line. I was just like, what? I was like, where did that come from? I was like, no way. I'm like, all right, cool. So it's super, super great surprise. He was, he might not have got the result he wanted, but it showed that, again, the Mercs are on second double podium in 2 races. It's something that's huge for them right now. It's going confidence, like you said, going into the summer break. Underwhelming is, you can't say anyone else except for the Mercs and Leclerc, man.
No, you mean the Ferraris
and Leclerc. Yes, Ferraris and Leclerc.
You didn't even want to say.
Yeah, I don't even. I just don't even want to. I'm not even going to talk about it. They're just the guys. Whatever.
You already knew that. We didn't even need to take it there.
I don't even know what to say. Overwhelmed. I got to say, Hamilton driving back and having that run. Even with Max, you kind of knew he was going to be in the podium, starting from 10th with that Red Bull being that quick. It was kind of like last year with Max and Lewis. If they're outside the top 10, they're going to be in the top 3 by the end of the race. But to see, the Merc get through the pack, do a good strategy, be fast, get into second, be fast in the soft tire. I think that's the biggest surprising thing from this weekend, and overwhelming thing from this weekend is that Merc and the overall speed of them. So I'm pretty pumped about it, seeing those guys run up front.
Yeah, it's almost a shame that the summer break is now.
I know, right?
Well, one more just to see. I need one.
Let me just get Spa right now.
Yeah. But so we're gonna take a little hiatus because you're picking up. You're gonna get super busy as well. I mean, we got some doubleheader Constructors Cup stuff coming up at Mosport, and of course the Canadian National Karting Championship will be taking over 3rd week of August.
Yes.
So we definitely look forward to participating in that. If you're watching it, if you made it all the way to the end of this and you agree with us, Ferrari suck, drop a like, drop a comment, and if you want to get on track, as always, hit Darryl's up, find him on socials.
You should, and if they're around, come on around for the Canadian Nationals. It's going to be at Mosport Karting Center, which is at the historical Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Bowmanville. It's going to be 250 to 300 entries, I would say, for that race. The doubleheader the weekend before is going to be a test-in weekend for Manufacturers Cup. Also a huge race for us.
That'll actually draw some. I feel like that's going to draw a break too, because you're going to get people from all over who want to get a race in and a test in leading into. And if it is big, track conditions will be that of what they're looking for.
Exactly.
I know that's what I'm looking for. Trying to get the testing out of the way to see what happens with the track prior to.
And it's everyone coming from all over. There's a couple of Americans coming up, a bunch of people from out west, Calgary, BC. A lot of people from the East Coast, a lot of drivers from Quebec are coming up, so it's going to be a very big race. And finals are on the Sunday of August 21st.
Yep.
And then there's the doubleheader, which is the August 14th weekend. We're racing on Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday and Sunday, there's no admission or anything to come in, so come on down, check it out. You can see some amazing racing. Some of the future stars of F1 are on that grid. So
and get yourself a nice Charles Leclerc kart.
Yes, or t-shirt.
Or t-shirt, courtesy of our friends at Pro Race in Ontario. In all seriousness, DT, thanks so much once again. We will be back after the summer break. Spa, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, the greatest racetrack in the world. Formula One will be taken over there, and we look forward to bringing you another race weekend, Canada's F1 podcast post-race.